Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing a review on the Nike Inflict 3 wrestling and boxing shoes. So check it out. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here, and today I'm doing a review on the Nike Inflict 3 wrestling and boxing shoes. These retail for $105. I got mine from Athlete Performance Solutions in size 11 in the white, black, and red colorway. Sizing wise, you can get these anywhere between 2.5 all the way to size 18, and they do come in half sizes, which is an added bonus for those of you like myself that end up being on that half size spectrum. I wear size 10.5. These shoes, compared to other Nike boxing and wrestling shoes, are actually more comfortable and a little bit wider around the toe box. So if you do have wide feet like myself, I still recommend going a half size up. So for example, I'm size 10.5. I got these in size 11, but compared to other Nike boxing shoes like the Macho Mice, the Hyper KO, the Hyper KO 2.0s, these are by far more comfortable, especially in this region of the shoe, this front area. So if you're watching this and you have had issues in the past with Nike shoes being uncomfortable in this section of the shoe, these Inflict 3s to me are more comfortable than those other models because this mesh upper is more forgiving and is more flexible on your feet, and the outside edges aren't as stiff as the Macho Mice or the Hyper KO. So in terms of comfort, go a half size up if you have wide feet, but these are definitely more comfortable than those other models. Now, if these shoes look familiar to you, then you probably know that Andre Ward has really made this particular model popular. I believe he wore the Inflicts and the Inflict 2s and obviously these Inflict 3s. But his particular pairs are going to be the Jordan brand. So, you know, structurally and performance-wise, is exactly the same kind of shoe, except the main difference is his is the Jordan brand or Jumpman brand, whatever you want to call it. So aesthetically, his shoes are going to be different. They're going to have a more custom look. They're going to have the Jumpman logo on it, and other features that the stock standard version like I have here doesn't have. But other than that, performance wise, they're essentially the same. They are a wrestling shoe, so they do have design cues with wrestling shoes that you typically don't see in a boxing shoe, which is going to be kind of that rolled outsole. In wrestling, obviously you're doing mat work, you're going to be on the ground, so you use leverage a little bit differently than you do in boxing. Well, actually a lot differently than you do in boxing, because you're on the ground and you're taking a lot more steeper angles with your footwork. Where in boxing, you're upright and you're pivoting, you're stepping side to side, front and back, so you don't really have to have that rolled outsole. So that's going to be the biggest difference between the traditional boxing boot, where you have just a regular flat outsole, because there shouldn't ever be a time that you're on the ground unless you're knocked out or you get dropped. So that's going to be the biggest difference between this and a traditional boxing shoe. Outside of that, there's a lot of similarities. Obviously, you want more of a sock-like fit. You want it to be lightweight. You want it to be extremely comfortable, and obviously the outsole needs to be thin. That way, in boxing, you want to be able to feel the surface underneath you, whether it's the boxing ring, concrete, asphalt, whatever your gym surface has at your gym. You want to be able to feel planted into the ground and be able to work your footwork without feeling like your shoes are an obstacle for you. So I feel that the Inflict 3 does an amazing job with that. I haven't been a fan of Nike shoes in the past, just in general, not even just boxing and wrestling shoes, just because I feel that Nikes have always been really narrow. They've never been really accommodating, in my opinion, to people with wide feet or people that have really weird shaped feet like myself. But I feel like they did a pretty good job with these compared to the others, which I explained earlier. So when you're looking at this aesthetically, I think it looks really nice. I think it's a really good looking shoe. It's not overly done with crazy graphics. It's not like the Hyper KO 2.0s where you have that fly-wire technology that's built into the upper, and you have a lot of things going on. These shoes actually remind me kind of like the Jordan 10 or the Jordan 11s. The Tinker Hatfield Jordans, where you have that patent leather that kind of drops down around the outer perimeter of the shoe. So it has that kind of that classic Jordan 11 look to it. Then you kind of have like an up-tempo, Nike up-tempo look with that, or the Penny Hardaway look with that kind of logo. So I do like how they integrate that classic Nike design into the shoe. The materials itself, you do have this mesh upper that's very lightweight, and I can show you guys there, that's in white You do have the embroidered Nike swoosh on the side of the shoe right there. Flat laces. You also have the tongue piece right here that keeps the laces connected to your tongue. That mesh upper rotates all the way down to the front toe box and comes back on this side, on the inner side of the shoe. I do have a really nice heel cup that comes up to right about here. It's pretty stiff all the way to this section where it has a little bit more flexibility. So you're looking at about 3 inches of a rise on the heel cup. That gives you that support, especially when you're lifting up or you're moving forward and backwards with your movement. The shoe itself is manufactured in China, no surprises there. You have the tags on the inside that says made in China, has your size on the inside there, shipped to season 2010, whatever that means. And then you have the inside of the shoe where it says wrestling, and you also have an insole that is actually glued to the inside of the shoe. So if you want to put your own insoles in there, you're going to actually have to tear the insole out of this because it is glued into the bottom of the shoe. So keep that in mind if you do want to place it with your own custom orthotics. You do have this black polyurethane faux material that rotates around the shoe right there. It does have a decent arch support. It's not overly huge, but it's not completely flat as well. So you have a little bit of arch support right there. That material wraps around the front toe box and around right there as well. You do have a TPU midsole, so thermoplastic midsole, and a gum rubber outsole for traction. So you can see that you do have the traction grooves that is basically a big U. The swoosh shine right here. You have the suede material that wraps around all the way around the toe box, and more of that gum rubber outsole right here. So you have that design right there, the white and the swoosh in the middle as well. One big thing I like about this shoe is that you don't feel like your feet is getting choked out. So compared to the Hyper KOs and the Macho Mice, this section, this midsection of your foot all the way to this front toe box, to me is more accommodating for people with wide feet compared to other Nike shoes. And to me, that's a huge bonus with that. The shoe is very lightweight compared to the others. You can see that the actual, where the laces go through is actually reinforced. So they actually put stitching. I would have liked to see maybe a plastic ring on each piece right here, the plastic eyelets to where the laces go through, but at least they put a bead of stitching around each sole and you're not just poking straight through the fabric. So that's an added bonus. And then you also have this Velcro strap that says Nike. It does have a little bit of perforated design on that. That is not actually functional, those little holes. That's purely for looks and aesthetics. And then that goes across right there on the Velcro. I'd consider this to be, I'd say a mid to a low shoe, mid to low, low top shoe. It's definitely not a high top shoe. And because of that, they're easy to put on and take off. So that's another big bonus is sometimes you get boxing shoes that are high tops, and obviously that's by design, so you have a little bit more ankle support. With these are a perfect height. I would probably compare them to like the Rival Guerrero boxing shoes I did a review on a while ago in terms of height from the bottom of the shoe all the way to the top portion right here. So in terms of being able to put these on and remove them, they're actually pretty easy to do. Removing the shoe and taking the laces out is actually a pretty easy task with these shoes. So some shoes they're pretty tight around this area, and sliding your foot into the shoe can be kind of a pain in the ass, but with these I didn't have any issues with them at all. So all in all, I'm very satisfied with these Inflict 3 shoes. I came into I bought these shoes with a bit of skepticism. I was like, man, I'm gonna get these shoes and they're gonna suck. They're gonna be way too tight, they're gonna be too narrow, and I'm gonna feel like basically I wasted my money because I didn't really have a good experience with Nike shoes. It was easier for me to bite the bullet with like the Hyper KO 2.0s. One, because they're a lot more expensive than these. I think the Hyper KOs are almost like $200, and they use a little bit more technology, like with the fabrics, like the fly wire technology, where this doesn't have that. You just have a regular upper mesh, TPU midsole, rubber outsole, and that's pretty much it. So in terms of like fabric materials and technology, comparing this to like the Hyper KOs, you're not going to get the same level of technology. But honestly, you can have all that technology, but if it's not comfortable, then it doesn't really matter in my opinion. So definitely out of all the Nike shoes I've tried, these are the most comfortable. by far. I do love the fact that you can get these in half sizes, and they have some pretty awesome colorways as well. So make sure you guys check out this shoe. I've been very satisfied with these. I'm going to continue to use these, break them in even more. But for a boxing shoe, these are awesome in my opinion. And the other thing I forgot to mention is the outsole right here. Even though it does have a little bit of a roll to it, I didn't have any issues with rolling my ankle. Sometimes you get wrestling shoes, some of the Asics and even the Adidas, the outsole has such a roll to it that when you're doing footwork and boxing, if you do any kind of side-to-side lateral movement, I've had a couple instances where I actually would roll my ankle, not all the way over, but enough to where I felt it, and I was like, oh crap, you know, I'm rolling my foot, so I got to be really careful with that. And I didn't have any issues with these, so that's definitely an added bonus. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find these Nike Inflict 3 wrestling and boxing shoes. I'll see you guys later. Take care.